Welcome to the Root Zone Podcast with Chris Stout, owner of Stout Lawn Care. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Root Zone Podcast right now. And here's your host, Chris Stout.
We are here with the third episode of the Root Zone Podcast. I'm very excited with our next guest. His name is Bryan Swinney. He is the owner of yardcomfort.com, Tick and Skeeter Deleter. And Bryan, what's the name of the lawn care that you go by now?
BRS Backyard Bug Busters.
So the BRS Backyard Bug Busters. And you are out of New Jersey. Bryan, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your business. Where'd you get your start? All those good stuff. Let's get started. Like, where are you located and what kind of company do you run?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure talking with you, Chris, and sharing ideas in the industry and trade secrets that we like to share with each other so we all work together. And it's always good to have friends in the industry. So I appreciate you for that. And like a lot of us in the green industry, well, I started out pushing the lawnmower down the street when I was 13 years old. And this stuff has been in my blood. So I live in North Jersey, and I started my landscape business a long time ago. I first started with landscaping, and I always liked to do that, and cutting grass was my thing. And I never thought I would be doing what I'm doing now, just started out by cutting grass. But, you know, I did that for many years, and I had to learn the hard way how to do things.
Yep.
And yeah, so
was that right out of high school that you started cutting grass? Or like, do you have any college experience? Did you go to college at all?
I had my first landscape business, Mike and Bryce's Lawn Service, when I was 13 years old. And by the time I got to the 16, 17 age, I was spending summers working in Lake George. So the business kind of got put to the side, left in my brother's hands, and kind of fell apart then. And I did a lot of other trades for about 6 years. I was in the HVAC industry, excavation, truck driving, a lot of crazy jobs. And when I was doing HVAC in New York City, in the basement, in the steam room, hanging out with the cockroaches, I was like, I would just much rather be out in the dirt doing what I do. And I had a really good job then. And I walked away from a, full union job. I went through the apprenticeship program. I was a mechanic. I had a van. I had a good job, benefits. I walked away from it. And I had 7 lawn cutting customers at the time. When I walked away, I was doing it on the side, and everybody said I was crazy. The only person that supported me was my mom, and she knew I could do it. And, I think it was, I had a lot of motivation and ego kind of drove that a little bit, because I wanted to make sure I had my trucks parked at the gas station in the local town. And I wanted to make sure that everybody saw those trucks move every day.
Yeah.
And that kept me going for a little while. Yeah. And then I needed software. So I got a good CRM, and they were like, if you're going to make money in this business, you're going to either go construction or start doing fertilizer applications.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know how. But I got a good mentor, and he showed me how to do fertilizer. And then I got into tick and mosquito control, and that's been a big hit the past probably 8-10 years. And then I started developing my own product about 5 years ago, and that's been a big hit. So it's been fun.
That's interesting. I didn't know that you had that hiatus where you took off 5-6 years to do something else. I thought you went right from landscaping right into the green industry per se, or right from, cutting grass right into fertilizing and doing all that stuff. When you switched and you decided, you said you had 7 customers, right? So
yeah,
where did you go from there? Like, you went from 7 customers. Did you have a job to support yourself, or you said, I'm gonna have my truck, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna have 25 lawns tomorrow? Like, how did that go? I mean, how did you support? Were you living? I'm assuming you're living with your mom or dad. You have your own place. How'd that all work out?
Yeah, I was living with my mom at the time. I liked to party a lot at the time, so I didn't want to own a house. I didn't want the responsibility. I like to work hard and play hard, so money was a big driving factor then. And a lot of people are like, there was a big risk. You got to take the risk. So I went for it. I took the risk, and I had the time. So the work came. If you have something else going on the side, if you're not 100% committed, then it's not you're going to get out of it what you put into it. So I gave it all I had. I didn't have much, but I gave it all I had. And I didn't have money, but I had time. I had energy. So that's what I gave.
So you didn't have any. It's not like you were sending out 10,000 postcards to improve your lawn care business or your mowing. You were ground pounding and just word of mouth, knocking on doors, like you said, parking at the local gas station. Is that how you started? I mean, what did you towards the end? How many mowing customers were you mowing?
So it grew pretty quick just by word of mouth, and I got postcards printed up. And I didn't even mail them out. I put them on people's mailboxes after I got in trouble with the U.S. Postal Service for putting them in the mailbox. Then I figured out that you could put them on the mailbox. So I did that. Not to mention, that was 2009, and the world was upside down. People were like, "This is the worst time to start a business. What are you thinking?" But I believed in it. I believed in it, and I went for it. And the demand was there, and I, it was in the town I grew up in, so a lot of people know me, so they see me working, so I got a lot of work by that way. People I know, people that know me through other people, and one job just leads to another. And next thing you know, I just had to start buying more equipment, and then I needed help, and I got hooked up with some good guys. They came to me too because they were working for other landscapers in the area, and they want to know who the new guy was that popped up. And it started growing from there.
After that, you did landscaping for a bunch of time, or for an extended period of time. When did you cut off the landscaping and go right to fertilization and bug control, what you do now?
Yeah, so that was another risk. That was hard because for a guy like me that doesn't know how to say no, when it came time to say no to the landscape work and say, no, I just do fertilizing, that was hard. But I got the guys that worked for me to take over the landscaping, because I knew that as long as I kept the customers taken care of with the landscaping with the same guys, then they would keep me to fertilize the lawn. So I did it that way, and it worked well. And those guys are still working. They're still doing landscaping. Yeah.
And so how many, this is crazy to me. So you went from nothing to landscaping and then decided I'm done landscaping. Let me fertilize. How many fertilized customers did you have in your landscaping business when you started that?
Yeah. So it was probably about 2 years of landscaping at the end where I knew that that was the goal, was to do fertilizing. So I had some good guys running the landscape crew, and I was just focused on the fertilizing, and that's what I focused on, and I did every day. And once I saw that I had almost enough work to support one route, I went for it, and it was another big risk, but with risk comes reward. Yeah.
What are you up to now as far as a customer count? I mean, when did you start the fertilizer? The fertilizer started when? What year?
That was 2016 when I made the switch, and never looked back. I don't miss it at all, but it was a great way to start. That's for sure, because, I still carry that reputation in the industry in the same area. So a lot of people know me, and then it's the friends of those people, and it just grows from there. And the signs are big, the posting signs, and everybody says, man, I see your trucks and your signs everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, that's a given. We love the signs per se. So let me switch gears a little bit. I want to jump on this Tick and Skeeter Deleter. So this is your proprietary product. We use it here at Stout Lawn Care. We love it. It's a all natural, organic insect control, we'll call it. And we'll have some show notes in here, and we'll link your page, and Brad will make sure that everybody knows and how to get to Bryan's homepage. But how did this start? I mean, I think I've been buying your product for two and a half years now. We use it for all of our outdoor insect control, but I really wanted to get you on here because of this product in particular and what your process was going from a thought in your head, you wanted some sort of organic outdoor insect control, to the product development, all the way to what you're doing now, selling it to larger lawn companies and even the homeowner now. I mean, I still have some homeowners that are using it for themselves. So what was your first thought basically of like, I need to find this product? And then how did you get through the manufacturing and the testing phase and all that?
Yeah. So it's kind of a funny story. I was doing a lot of tick and mosquito already. I saw a big opportunity with that. And so I jumped on it. And then I was using a bunch of different products. I really went with the all natural idea. I saw the demand with that for an all natural option, organic option, whatever words you want to use. So I was using some different products, and I saw a need for a 2-for-1 product. There was tick control products, there was mosquito control products, and I really saw a need where, why can't I just, people are selling it as a mosquito control and as a tick control, and that's good for revenue generation, but I really wanted to add value, do a 2-for-1, show up, call a tick and mosquito control, and be done with it. And so I got a friend of mine that actually is my supplier for the essential oils, and that's what he does. And he sells essential oils, and he's like always asking me about the tick and mosquito product. And do you use cedar oil? And I'm like, yeah, it's cedar oil. I was like, wait, don't you sell cedar oil?
Yeah, right.
He's like, yeah. I'm like, can't we make this stuff? He's like, yeah, come into the lab. So, and from there, I knew my side, I knew my business. I know the industry and the different ingredients that people are using and what we need to do, and certain ingredients kill different insects. But he knew the chemistry and what would go good together and what wouldn't, and what would smell good and what wouldn't. So, we did a lot of work in the lab.
My question is, what would blend together too? Is that like, I don't know. Like, I know there's a soap aspect to it. Like, it has to stick. It has to be, I don't know, the viscosity has to be certain. How did you were lucky enough, honestly, to know what he could do, and he was the chemist behind it, basically?
Yeah. Cause I knew the, our side of it, our business end, and he knew the chemistry. So, I started naming ingredients, and he's like, no, yes, no. These will smell good together. No, we're not using garlic. Nobody wants their yard to smell like garlic. And I was like, I agree with that. So that's just how it came together. And it worked out well, having him on board to know the chemistry end and put it together. And it took a lot of different formulas and a lot of testing in my own business, where I just put it to use in my own business. And
right away.
Yep. Right across the board. Like, I didn't say, we're going to try it on this property, or I'm going to try it on my own property. I just made the switch and started spraying it across the board, and it worked great. And the feedback on the smell was incredible from the customers. So I ran with it.
It's just crazy to me that you went from, like, you are, I'm going to ask you a question later in this podcast about being a visionary or an implementer, but I don't even have to ask that question. I already know what you are. What was your driving force? Like, was it revenue? Like, I was like, okay, I can make this product and I can sell this product I have, all these industry connections. Was it homeowner based right away? Or did you I was like, I got to test it out, obviously, on my properties and my company. And then once I start honing it in, then I want to sell it to the homeowner. How'd that go? And was it the driving force, a product for your business, or was the driving force revenue? Money in your pocket. I want to sell this product. I want it to be cool. I want it to be the best organic bug control on the market.
The driving force was actually, I wanted to save money in my own business. I didn't set out to
Yeah.
I didn't set out to sell this product at all.
Yeah. All great creations are made up by necessity, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Something
So,
like that.
I mean, we had a need and a demand, and we needed a good product for our own business, and I put it to use. And then I got a lot of friends in the industry like you that were like, "Hey, what are you using?" And I told them I made my own product, and they're like, "Well, I want to try that." And so then I started selling it to some friends, and the feedback was so good that it was like, "Man, we gotta label this thing and sell it."
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And that's actually my next point, labeling, right? So we have all this, regulations in our industry, which are great. I love our regulations. People are scared of them. I think it's a great thing for our industry to be safe and be responsible and do what we're supposed to be doing. But when you talk about labels, you're talking about insect control. That's a touchy subject in a lot of states and, across the country. It's not just here in the Northeast or Pennsylvania or New Jersey. It's everywhere. You're getting restrictions on use for pesticides and herbicides and fertilizers and phosphates and potassium and all kinds of stuff. So because, this is the little I know about chemistry, is because of this product is all natural, you don't have to register it with any kind of, regulatory board or anything like that in each state.
well, yeah. So each state is different. We stuck with the requirements at first to make sure to be 25B exempt pesticide. There's a list of ingredients that you're allowed to use in order to meet those requirements to be 25B exempt pesticide. So we made sure we had that right from the start. And then once we got into labeling, so I'm like, okay, we want to label this thing and sell it, but I'm over here running a lawn care application business, tick and mosquito control application business, and that's going to be, I knew what that was going to take. So, I turned to my wife, my girlfriend at the time, and was like, I got a product and an opportunity. Let's make a business and let's sell this product. And she was like, I'm the manager of this construction company. Like, I got no time. I think it's a great idea. I support you. She helped me with the name because it's a great name. And but she's like, you know what it would take? I'm like, oh, well, take a leave of absence and try this out for a little while, and let's see if we can be successful selling this product. She's like, you know what it would take for me to take a leave of absence? Like, I'm running this construction company, and she really liked that industry, and like she kind of pretty much told me I was crazy. And then COVID happened, and nobody knew what was going on in the world, and she didn't want to go to the office, and her boss was like, we got to be here, and her son was 12 at the time, and they closed school, and she wanted to stay home and do the homeschool thing.
That was a rough time. It was a rough time for everybody. And
yeah, so that was like, yeah, I call it, she pulled the COVID card, and
yeah,
she took the unemployment and she stayed home, and I was like, well, now we can do the business. Let's do it.
Yeah, perfect. It falls right in your lap.
Yeah, it's just funny how she's like, you know what it would take for me to take a leave of absence, and then COVID happened.
A global pandemic, is that what it would take for you to take a leave of absence?
Yeah.
The damn global pandemics get you every time. Makes you rethink your life. Should have them every couple of years. That's nuts. And so you run with it since. And how is business? Are you growing that side of it? I know. I don't want to dive too much into the fertilizer side, because I know that's doing good for you. But as far as selling to us as in the industry, and how about homeowners? How's it going? Are you keep on pushing it? What's going on with it now?
Yeah, we're more so in the wholesale industry, selling business to business. When we first started, we tried to focus on the homeowner thing and the hose end bottles, and it's a great thing, but it's a commercial grade product, and it's a really high percentage active ingredient. It's a commercial grade, though. You can't compete with the $12 bottle of 0.5% ingredient on a Home Depot shelf. It's just not the same. So we kind of throttled back on the retail end. We sell to hose end bottles to people that believe in the product, that know the product, and they know the difference. We've really been doing the commercial end of it, selling to other lawn care businesses, and it's been growing there.
Well, I feel like it's an easier opportunity to sell it to us in the industry because you have a chance to explain it and we understand it. Where I think the hiccup for you selling to homeowners is the explanation of why this is $40 a bottle compared to $12 from Home Depot, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the hardest part. Whenever you're selling to a homeowner, is you only get a second or two to sell them, and if your product isn't explaining what it's doing almost immediately, which yours does with the name Tick and Skeeter Deleter, but it's still a process of explaining what makes your product different. Why is it safer for your kids? Why is it safer for your pets? So it's just a tough sale. And I understand. I was always wondering how that was going to go with the retail side and trying to sell it to homeowners.
Yeah, we definitely been having a greater success with selling to the lawn care industry and the tick and mosquito control industry. So it's been growing. It's going really well. And we've been getting certain state, you mentioned before, the certification in different states. So we've been doing that one state at a time, working on different states that we're kind of getting into. So we're starting over here on the East Coast and the Northeast mainly. So, and it's been branching out, but we've shipped product as far as Colorado recently. So
nice.
It's starting to grow. It's getting out there. We ship to Florida, Michigan, the Midwest area. A lot all around here by us and in the Northeast. So
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Great. All right, so I want to jump in. We always like to jump into a little bit of marketing and a little bit of what you're doing in your business now. How have you succeeded? So, we talk a lot about marketing, and I think we piggyback each other on what you're doing every year. But in that beginning phase, were you doing? You got your lawn care up and running. You're spraying fertilizer. You're getting new customers. You're getting new flea, tick, and outdoor insect customers. What was your driving force? Were you doing a lot of postcards at that point? Were you doing direct mail, SEO, your website? Like, when did that all come about, and how are you planning on keep growing as well as you have?
Referrals is always going to be your best tool, but I think that only works so long. Once you get to a certain size, then referrals it can only grow so much. So that's where we're starting to build a more serious marketing plan on what we're going to be doing. But postcards has always been a big thing for us. The signs, we do yard signs, we do posting flags, and a big thing for us has been neighbor flyers. Greetings neighbor. Do you know what your neighbors are doing? Do you know what your neighbors are up to? A door hanger on all the surrounding neighbors of every yard you treat, every application. And it's, do you know what your neighbors are up to? And it kind of catches people's eye, and it's got a QR code, and it takes you, right to the lawn bot, and people are signing up.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's something we're going to implement in the spring of this year coming up, is starting to do door hangers. I think we're going to get away from, the every door direct mail type marketing and do more, me, we do a lot of local, we do a lot of community stuff. So we're going to do obviously a lot of that. You're not the first person I've heard, and not just in the green industry, but just like our last episode, we had, Bryan, who's a plumber. I think that would be a great opportunity for even plumbers to do, if they're doing, a drain clean out on somebody's yard or somebody's house. And hey, man, you got 5 or 6 houses right next to it. Hey, look what your neighbor's doing. Avanti Plumbing is the best in the area. So I think that's going to be more what people are going to, is more of that personal touch, like getting close to people and stuff like that. Yeah. What else? SEO. Do you have an SEO company? Are you doing that all back to the house right now? How are you handling that?
Yeah, we have a local person that built our website. We're probably going to revamp it again, but they did some SEO, and we do a decent amount of Facebook marketing in the spring. We we try to have a strong social media presence. Not as good as Stout Lawn Care, but we try. You guys do a great job with that. I think Google reviews, we're trying to focus on Google reviews. That's been big lately. and we ask
Yeah.
for Google reviews. We give a postcard after every job with a QR code right to the review link. We try to get reviews that way. So digital is big. If be seen, be heard, right? So
Yeah.
it's a little bit everything between, like we talked about, the signs and the trucks, having presentable trucks, and creating the right value and having a consistent message, creating that value.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you gotta make sure that when they see you, they're not just seeing your truck. If they Google you, you come up on Google. If they ask about you around the community, you're easily accessible and you answer your phone and all that good stuff. So as you've been growing, what are some of the struggles that you've been dealing with growing this business? I know the outdoor insect control, the backyard bug buster is killing it for you guys. How are you handling new, you hear, where there's going to be a common theme on this podcast, people bitching and moaning about not having employees. How are you doing with employees? I know, just talking to you, you lost a guy earlier this year, but it sounds like, you're doing pretty good. You got enough guys and, everything's going well now, but is that your biggest struggle, is just employees? I mean, I think you got your program nailed down, all that stuff, but what are some of the other struggles that you're having right now?
Yeah, so employees is definitely a challenge. We've done pretty well with it though. I think that you got to put more work into it than you had 2 years ago. We're in a different market. So people are looking for more quality of life, depending on the age bracket. I've been toying with the idea, what's our target employee audience? Do we want the young guy? Do we want the guy that has a family and kids that he needs to support, that's a little bit older, or even older than that, and now we're getting into
the wily old veteran that is stuck in his ways?
Yeah, the good old boys that got some work ethic, but they're starting to wear out a little bit, because it's a physical job. Or the young guy, that's still living that party life that I used to. So they're not always reliable, and so you're going to have those challenges. But I spend a lot of time in the off season recruiting and just interviewing and building that database up. So we keep track of employees the same way we keep track of our customers. So I have, we use software, and every time I interview somebody, I take notes and we have them in our system. So even if I don't hire them, it might not work out first time around, but when all of a sudden we need somebody, it's not so much of an emergency reaction where, hey, I'm desperate, I'll hire whoever I could find. I might reach back to my database. Oh, remember I interviewed this guy, but it wasn't number one pick. But so things like that I've learned are starting to help. It's a different time and we got to put a little bit more effort in, but we've been blessed with some really good guys this season. One guy we had to let him go for numerous reasons, but it's good we got the tools. We have the tools to keep track of what's going on and and have a relationship with our customers to get some honest feedback when there's something's not right, or the GPS on the truck when he's parked somewhere too long, or they're speeding up the highway. We need to know those things.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I like our CRM. We just know where everybody's at all times. And it's not really like, a lot of my guys, the first time they see, the live map that I have, you guys are watching us all the time. And it's not really watching you. We're not really watching you. We want to know where you're at so we can keep the flow of the day going. If there's problems arise or something like that comes up, or I need to know that you might be 15 minutes away from your next stop, so I can just let that customer know without interrupting your day. From what I'm getting from you, it doesn't sound like employees are an issue. Like, it really doesn't. Like, you have employee issues, which is, I think everybody has employee issues, whether it's scheduling or whatever the case may be. But it seems like you got a good pipeline of people coming in if you need them. And I think that's what we're doing good at too, is I think we have a couple people that, have inquired about it, or we have talked to them about having a job here at Stout Lawn Care. And I think that if we continue to grow how we grow, I can dip into that well and hopefully, pull some people out and offer them a good position here. Because I think you do a good job of it. I don't think I'm going to have anybody on this podcast that's not doing a good job of culture and treating their employees well. So what does your next step look like with these guys? Do you think you're going to need another one next year? Have you already honed in on that person yet?
Always searching, always looking. And we have the next guy is lined up to start. He's probably going to help us with some aeration and seeding coming up here for this season and hopefully stay with us for next year. So we know what's coming up next. And like you said, creating that culture, having the right culture and a positive working environment where people want to come to work and having weekly meetings and keeping everybody in sync and know what's going on. Those are all important things that, we all share ideas and learn from each other about. And, we've implemented those things and it seems to be working well. So we're going to stick with it. Now, the off season is always a hard thing for me. We're going to be coming into the off season and it's like, all right, how do we motivate these guys to come back after being off in the winter? But if you have the right culture and the right work environment, they want to come back.
Well, culture is a buzzword, and we're gonna by the end of this, we're gonna get off this culture and teamwork bullshit. Okay, so culture is we're gonna figure out a different name. We're gonna revolutionize the whatever industry. I don't even know what industry we're talking about right now, but it doesn't matter. Culture is so overused. Right. So why do you think you have a good working relationship with your guys? Why do you guys come back? What do you do for them? How does it work? Do you have, I like to say I got beer in my fridge at all times. I got, if they need a day off, they need a day off. How do you do it with your guys or your gals?
Yeah. So that's a good question because, we just want more.
Yeah.
We want more. And, I expect everybody to work the way I do, but I had to learn and get over those expectations. And I got a really good friend, mentor that's in a different industry that owns a big business. He was like, listen, if you can get these guys to produce 70% of what you're doing good.
Yeah.
Because, I'm complaining to him about these guys and they're taking too long and they're not doing what I can do. And he's like, you got 3 guys out there right now. If they're all doing 70%, now you're at 210% plus you. Now you're at 310%.
Yeah.
Compared to you just doing 100%. So, and I, just put it in that perspective helped me a lot. But, back to what you said about just being understanding and laying everything out in the beginning, I found it is important. So what's your company manual look like and systems and processes? It's all about people, processes, and procedures. And when you have those procedures and the processes in your company manual, and this is how we work it, this is how much vacation time you get, and this is what happens when this happens. I know for me, that's a place I would want to work because that's structure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people want to be somewhere where they feel like there's structure and being a part of something greater, So the other thing is, it's like, I want to know what are your goals? So, what I ask an employee, what are your goals? Because if I can help you achieve your goals, you're going to help me achieve mine. So let's work together on this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great, man. I love it. I just hear so much. And I think it's just like our industry or any industry, you always hear the bad. But then, talking to you, talking to, Bryan, talking to Derek, the people I've talked to on this podcast, and in general in the industry, I think most of us are doing it right. I think we really are. I think that we're creating a culture. Damn it. We're creating an atmosphere that is suitable for people to come to work to and want to work and have fun at work and do things maybe even outside of work. And I think that it's just I think it's the most important thing is worrying about the people first and making sure that your people are happy. There's going to be bad days in this industry or plumbing or your culinary industries or your construction industries. There's going to be bad days. It's how you can handle that with each guy and or each gal and treat them differently and who they are. So I texted Stephanie. I don't think you know this. She was probably in the office. You're probably on the road. I know you're on the road. And I always like to get a little insight on my guests before I do the interview. So there's a couple things I want to bring up and get your opinion on. So apparently, you sent your 12, 13-year-old stepson down in a snow bike down the mountains skiing one year, and that was not a safe endeavor. Were you? I know you're an adrenaline junkie, and we'll get into what you do to feed your adrenaline needs. But to pass it off on your stepson, what happened, and what were you thinking?
I don't know what I was thinking, but he's kind of like me. He likes to get the adrenaline too. So we like to go snowboarding, and I got this snow bike. It's a bike on 3 skis that you ride down the ski slope.
Sounds safe. Sounds amazing.
And,
Brad, Brad, do you want to go snow biking? Does that sound fun to you?
I gotta tell you, at size 15, that's about the appropriateness for my own feet.
yeah, you can just go down without anything. Brad just needs a bike and his shoes, and he's got a ski bike.
Yeah. My feet are already like wheel length.
Yeah, these skis are about that size.
Anyway, all right. So you're skiing now. Snowboarding? Where did this story come about? What happened?
Yeah, so I taught him how to ride the snow bike at the bottom of the hill. At the bottom, before we go up the lift, there's a little area for beginners to go down and ride the magic carpet. So I sent him down there, and he seemed like he got the idea, right? So what do? We go up to the top of the hill. Let's ride this thing. And he wanted to do it. So we get up there, and he starts going, and I thought I showed him well enough how you're going to stop this thing and do your turns and your carving down the hill. So we get up there, and it's a good thing he had a full face motocross helmet on, because we get to the top of the hill and he just starts going down, and he's not turning. He's not slowing down. He's not carving. He's just going straight, and he's going fast. And I had to chase him down as fast as I could to try to keep up with him. I was on my snowboard. Yeah, and he went tumbling a couple times and ran into people, but he's a kid, so it was okay. But I was nervous because we hadn't been together that long at the time, and it's not my own kid at the time. So there we go.
Great job, stepdad. Way to make a great first impression. Can you take care of my children?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. There's no checkbox on that one.
Yeah.
But so we know what kind of activities you're into. I don't think me or Brad will ever be caught dead. Maybe, I don't know. I don't ski at all. That's scary.
I'm a flat ground activity type of guy.
Yeah, me too. Flat grounds, it's all about me. But you also have a boat, Bryan, and I want you to tell people what kind of boat this is, because if anybody listens to this and likes boats, they're going to understand this. I have no idea. Brad's going to have no idea. Most of our listeners aren't going to have any idea, but I want to know, what kind of boat is it, and how fast does it actually go?
Yeah, I mean, I like boats. I've been around boats my whole life, so it's my thing. And it's a go fast boat. A lot of people would call it a cigarette boat.
Okay.
It's a catamaran. It's called a skater, and it's got 2 outboard motors on it, 300 horsepower each. And we like to do these boating events where they have fun runs or poker runs, where a whole bunch of go fast boats get together and do a poker run for the day. And they say it's not a race, but when you get anywhere from 50 to 100 guys with go fast boats together to the same place, what it turns into. So that's what we like to do, and it's a lot of fun, And when you're going 100 mile an hour across the water, that gets my adrenaline fix.
Okay, so the answer is it goes 100 miles an hour on the water?
Yeah, a little faster. We can cruise at 105.
Okay, so I was cruise at 100. I was on vacation. I took a pontoon boat out. I think we got up to 3 knots. How many knots? Well, how fast does a pontoon boat go?
Oh, pontoon boat's going to do anywhere from 15 to 25. 30 mile an hour. But they do have pontoon boats with some big motors on them. And I think the guy with the record on the pontoon boat's like 114 miles an hour right now.
Oh man,
So,
nah, I don't want to go that fast. I want to float out to an area and just relax. That's my idea of boating is find a spot where I'm not going to get eaten by a shark or have to worry about other boats coming by and just sit and relax. But I've told myself, I've told my wife, I've told everybody here at Stout Lawn Care, we're going to get down there one of these days and you're going to take us all out on the boat. We're all excited about it and we can't wait to go. Maybe just 70 miles an hour on it. I don't know if I'm a thrill seeker like you.
Fill your drink.
Yeah. I have to have, I indulge in some alcoholic beverages, so I don't want to I can't let it fly out of my hand or anything like that.
Well, we're going to get you to the party cove fast.
There we go. Yeah, exactly.
You're going to have more time when we get there.
That's right. I need more time. So last question we're getting here. We're getting down towards the end of it. I like to ask everybody this question. Bryan, do you consider yourself a visionary or do you consider yourself an implementer? I mean, you've been to all these conferences. You've been to all these psychological tests. Are you a green person? Are you a yellow person, red person? So what do you think you are? Do you think you're more of a visionary or do you think you're more of an implementer, go-getter? I like to do the job.
I think it takes all kinds. I definitely got a little bit of both, but most entrepreneurs are the visionary. But it takes, it really takes having both. If you're the visionary, then you're going to need a good implementer on your side. If you're the implementer, then you're going to need a good visionary.
Yeah.
When you start out small, you got no choice but to wear all hats. So I'm trying to work my way into where I can just be the visionary. As I build the team up to get the right people on board, that's what I'm working towards. But yeah, I always got some crazy ideas.
Yeah.
You're always planning the next thing. How can we do this more efficient? How can we make this better? How can we create more value and do it less expensive?
Yeah. No, I that's what I figured. But it's weird because you say that, right? You just said you're a visionary, but then you just talked about how you want to cut the fat off your business. And I guess that's a visionary kind of way to look at it. But I also feel like that's a very strong suit of an implementer, looking at the processes and the procedures and making sure the business is lean, mean, and a money-making machine, right? So the visionary, I look at a visionary as more of a person that kind of doesn't want to be bothered with that stuff and just wants to, see the long run. So it's funny. I don't know what you are. I think you are a visionary, but you're very similar to me is like a hybrid. So the next question is, what do you think I am? You've known me for a bunch of years now. Where do you think I am?
I think you guys, you do a great job with your business. And how long have you been in business now? How many years?
This will be the end of year 4. So coming up on end of year 4.
Yeah. So, that's a pretty short time. And see how quick you've grown. You've done a great job. I don't know. I think if you're just a visionary and you're not an implementer, then how would you get it to grow? So I think, like you said, a hybrid. I think it takes a little bit of both. And that's a good question. I'm not sure to give you a straight up answer as you're an implementer or you're a visionary.
It's got to be a percentage split, right? Both of you have to be like an 80-20 hybrid, some sort like that, right? Even if it's 95-5, but you're giving your all to that 5%, whichever side you fall on of the majority, at least, you guys are giving it your all on that other side.
Yeah,
to make this work.
And that's what I'm coming. And that's why I like to ask this question at the end, because it kind of gets my brain going about a lot of things. And one of them is we do a lot of these personality tests and you're supposed to be this way, you're supposed to be that way. And it's like, I get it to a certain extent, but like you said, I feel like I'm right in the middle. And you're talking about percentage splits. I guess I would go 60-40. I'm more of a visionary than an implementer, but when I think about my OCD brain, I think I'm 95% implementer because I'm so focused on how fast can I get this, how fast and effectively can I get this job done? How effectively can I get my guys out in the morning? How can I make them faster? Like, that is always, always, always on my brain. Like, how can we do this? How can we do that? Let's do it faster. Let's do it quicker. Let's do it more profitable. But my wife would be like, no way, Chris, you're a visionary without a doubt. Like, there's no question in my mind. You're a visionary because you when you think of something and you want to do it, you go. I mean, me and Steve, in the 4 years I've been running Stout Lawn Care, we've tried 2 other businesses that have not done anything, right? Like, I was like, hey, let's do this. It looks like there's a demand in the industry for it. Let's go for it. And both times we failed. I don't know if it's whether we didn't put our whole heart into it. We didn't put what we need, money, marketing, whatever it was. We kind of, maybe we just, because we half-assed it and it wasn't what we wanted to do. But then I look at it like, oh, Chris is definitely a visionary because we wasted thousands of dollars on 2 jobs or two businesses that just didn't go anywhere. Right. So I don't know. I think that's my journey.
Do you remember Derek had mentioned back on his episode that he was more of the one to think of all the things that would go wrong with every what seemed to be a grand idea? He'd have 2 to 3 different reasons of why they shouldn't go forward with that idea. You know, that it's kind of what you're talking about there, Chris, where it's like, despite that, you're finding out once you're already in it rather than shutting down your idea before it even gets going. Do you have that, Bryan, at all?
Yeah, I try not to focus on the what if part, just kind of try to go with it. But it's tough, you know. It's going back to the whole risk reward. More risk, more reward. How much risk are you willing to take?
Maybe that is the definition of a visionary then. It's not so much the end result, right? It's going for it first. And even if I am a visionary, I know that I can implement what I'm envisioning, or I have the people to implement what I'm envisioning. So maybe it's the jump that you're taking, not so much, because you brought up a great point, Brad, is I didn't even think about how Derek explained it. Was he looks at it, he's definitely an implementer because he takes the time to go through the process of saying, how do we do this? Is it going to work? We should market this. We should hire this. We should have this equipment, blah, 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 blah. Where I say, let's just design a website, get out there and go do the jobs, right? Where I think that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up, Brad, because that really reminded me of why Derek thought I was an implementer, really, because I like to go do all that stuff. Yeah. Cool. All right, Bryan, anything you want to add to this? Anything you want to say? I just want to, real quick, I want to say thank you, Bryan. I really appreciate you coming on. Another great episode. I really want people to know about Tick and Skeeter Deleter, especially for your at-home use. We use it in our business at Stout Lawn Care here. We love it. It's a great product, 100% natural, 100% organic. It's safe for kids, safe for pets. I'm taking all Bryan's spiel here, but Bryan, tell us how they can find you, how they can find your product, and, you know, anything you want to add to this.
Yeah, so I appreciate you definitely giving us all that credit and having us on. And I like what you do. I like what you're doing in your business, and I have a lot of gratitude that just having you as a friend and sharing ideas in the industry. You know, you said it's been 4 years. It's been a quick 4 years, but you got a lot of experience in the industry before that. And I value that. So you always help me a lot. You know, when I got something on my mind, I call you and you're like, it was great. It was like a week or 2 ago. And you're like, make a decision, Bryan. And I was like, wow, you know, like you wouldn't realize it, you know, when looking from the outside in, how something so simple coming from somebody on the outside looking in, it just helps so much. Because when you're in the fishbowl, you can't see what's going on in the fishbowl. When you're on the outside of the fishbowl looking in, it's simple. So just little things like that, you know, how we can help each other. So,
yeah,
you know, we got to work together in the industry, and I really appreciate that, and I'm excited to be on the podcast, and so I'm excited that you're enjoying using our product, and it's going very well, And if anybody wants to learn more about it, they can reach me. I love to talk about this stuff. I live and breathe it. So, I've helped other young guys in the industry get started that showed some interest, and they found me and they found my product, but they didn't really know how to get started with the business. And I've kind of been helping them. And I feel like just passing it on that way, the way it was so freely given to me, somebody has helped me get started and showed me the industry. So it's good to have that opportunity to pass it along. So if anybody wants to know anything about doing tick and mosquito control, share ideas, product information, definitely reach out to me. The product is Tick and Skeeter Deleter. The company that sells it is Yard Comfort, yardcomfort.com. I know you mentioned that, and our information's on there, phone number, email, and I'm definitely always willing to take calls. So anybody that has any other ideas and wants to talk about the industry, I'm always open to that. Just the same way like Chris and I work together, I think we all got to work together. So thank you again for having me on here. This is good stuff, and I look forward to hearing what else comes out on the podcast.
That's right. It's going to blow up, right, Brad? We're gonna make this thing blow up. We're gonna have a lot of fun with it. Once again, Brad, Bryan, I appreciate you guys coming on board for episode 3, and we're going to continue to do this, and we're going to continue to explore other service industries. And once again, thanks to you guys, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Great. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Bryan. Thanks for listening to the Root Zone podcast. Like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star rating so we can continue to grow. Thanks again to Bryan Swinney. Visit yardcomfort.com for more on their all-natural Tick and Skeeter Deleter. And of course, you can always visit Chris and his team at stoutlawncare.com. That's STOUT lawncare.com.